Welcome back, peoples. Welcome to the next tutorial on making the Neo King Key Keyblade. In this tutorial, what we'll be doing is we'll be going through fixing up any useless faces that we don't need. We'll delete them. What we'll also be doing is we'll also be generating UV maps by marking seams, unwrapping models, and exporting them as picture files so that we can edit them on Photoshop and make this Keyblade more pretty. But before we do, we need to first get rid of any useless faces. So what do I mean by useless faces? Any face that will be covered, that will not be visible but from any angle after the model is done, is called a useless face. So let's have a look. So as you can see behind here, let's have a look behind here. Are there any faces here? Indeed, we see that there are. You see this circle part here? This circle part will probably not be visible after the Keyblade has been completed, and by that I mean both faces will be flipped. So what we're going to do is we're going to get rid of this face. What we're going to do, it's pretty easy, is you go from object mode into edit mode, and you can actually individually select each of the vertices, but we're not going to do that. That's going to take forever. We're just going to hold down hold down Alt and then right click, and you will automatically select the face. Hit X to open the delete menu, and then click only faces. So it's gone. Alright, so that's one. Another one is here, but we'll do that one later because that one's on a different object. Scroll down, and we see we have another one here. This face is potentially going to be hidden by this model in front. So we're going to get rid of it. Once again, same thing. Alt, right click, X, only face. View it up, and here's another one. So we get rid of it. So just rinse and repeat until you've gotten rid of all the faces that are potentially not visible from the outside. Okay. Now we click here, and we do the same for here. Scroll down. It's just by doing this you can save yourself time by not having to do useless texturing, because sometimes you find that you texture useless things that are not going to be visible anyway. So yeah. Alright, back view. I'm going to move this down just a smidge. So that's wireframe mode. And then go back to solid mode, exit to go into object mode. Beautiful. Okay, now remember what we said earlier about the hilt, this part being a bit too thick? Well, if we have a look at it now, does it still look too thick? I wonder. I mean, if it does, we can fix it. It's not a big problem. I think what we can do is, I think this part here is what's making it too thick. So if we squash it down, possibly we can make the handle part more thinner. So let's do that. Go click on it, go into edit mode, and then go into wireframe mode. Press 3 to go to side mode, and we're going to select all the wide areas. So B, select, scroll down, oops, B, select, B, select, and we're going to squash it down. So we're going to click this, and that allows you to squash it down. Alright then, exit from, so tab out of edit mode, click here, and then what we can do is we're going to move this down. So now we can make it a bit more thinner. So now that we're in object mode, go back into edit mode, Alt click the free border of the model, and then what we're going to do is we're going to shift it Control A, side view, shift down, click here, change the y point 0 and move it back. Alright, and then now we have the problem of the nails, which are floating. So we're going to move the nails back. Click on the nails, go to edit mode, tab in, select all, and shift it back. Right, tab out, go to solid mode, and let's have a look. It looks much better. I mean, it looks... We managed to squeeze a bit of the handle without squeezing the handle, if you get what I mean. So these parts of the handle, we managed to squash them down. So we managed to thin out this part, but we also managed to keep the integrity and the width, the radius of this part here. Okay. And with that done, I think we are ready to UV map. Okay, UV mapping. I will open Paint, because Paint will be useful later. Not for texturing, but for seeing how far you are into UV mapping. Okay, so about UV mapping, what we're going to do is we're going to cut seams into the 3D models and we're going to unwrap them, creating what we call texture maps, or you know, texture nets. And you can import these into Photoshop and you can mess around with them, you can edit them, and you can save them again. So let's start with this part, since we started off our tutorial with this part. Let's make a texture map for this. So let's switch off everything else except for this part. Go into edit mode, close off everything else. Right, so I'm gonna right click, I'm gonna alt and right click the top, go to Control E and mark seam. If you accidentally mark the wrong place for a seam, you can simply go to you can simply highlight the area, go to Control E and then clear seam. And you can tell where areas have seams or not, because areas that have seams will appear red, like so. I'll show you. So mark seam, you can see that it's red, right? It's red, so that means there's a seam there. Okay. Down the bottom, repeat, mark seam, and I'm gonna cut here to create a seam here. So just normal right click, shift, normal right click, and then we're going to Control E, mark seam. Alright, so that's what it looks like. So what happens when we mark these seams? What happens when we unwrap them? Let's have a look. Oh, by the way, whoops, let me show you. To open up another side window, you click this part here, and you just pull, and it opens up another window. So you can do your 3D working here while you're UV mapping here. Click this box here, down the bottom, and select UV Image Editor. You'll see initially that there is nothing there. What we can do is we can unwrap this model and create a UV map. So we can hit A to select everything, hit Mesh, unwrap, UV unwrap, and hit unwrap. And there you have it. So that's basically that, cut at the seams and flattened out. You know, like with carton boxes, or those foldable boxes where you can, so a foldable box comes in like a shape, you know, and then when you can fold it into a cube, that's what I mean. You can do the same with cylinders. So basically the seams are the areas where it's cut, and when it's unfolded, you get this sort of shape. And the best thing about this is that you can actually manipulate the UV map. You can make it bigger or smaller by pressing S. S allows you to scale it, and then at the same time you can also move it. Hit G to move. You can also select distinct points. Press A to unselect all or select all. Alright, but we're going to unselect all in this case. Hit B and you can select distinct points that you want to move. Alright, so Control Z, Control Z, Control Z. Okay, so you can also rotate. So you can rotate by pressing R, etc. Alright then. So let's go back to our model. So we've already unwrapped one part. Let's go unwrap the other parts. Tab out of edit mode, and we're going to hide this model. Sorry, we're going to unhide all the other models. So we're going to click this model now, tab into edit mode, hide all the other models, and we're going to select seams. So I'm going to sit here and I'm going to start putting seams in. Whoops. Because if I talk about it, it will take me forever. So as for which seams and where to put the seams, it's just a matter of practice. After doing it for a while, you'll see where to put the seams and stuff. Yeah, I tend to leave the seams like that. I mean, you could also put one here and then put one there, but meh, I mean, texturing wise, it's not that detailed. I mean, it's all yellow in the end anyway, so it's okay. I'm not too fussed. Okay, we'll leave it there. Unhide everything. So that's been done. That's been done. Let's do these two. So mark seam. Oops. Other side. Oops. No. There we go. Mark seam. By the way, you can select free edges really quickly by simply holding down Alt and then right clicking like I did before. That's the good thing about using Alt click. Alright then. Mark seam. Mark seam. Mark seam. Mark seam. This area, this object here, down here, I made off screen. It's not that hard to make, and I don't think I need to do a tutorial for it. I mean, it's the same as making the other parts anyway. You just have to practice. So, yeah, okay. Tab out, scroll up. So we've already done this. We've done this. We've done this. Sorry, we've done this, these two buttons here. We've done this bottom part. Now we're going to do the hilt. So the hilt, we'll mark this bottom part as a seam. Mark the side part as a seam. Oops. Yep, okay. I might mark this front part as a seam as well. So as you can see in this case, hitting Alt and then right clicking doesn't select at all, so you have to do it manually, which can be a pain. A type of pain that is not fixed for analgesia, unfortunately. Okay, E mark seam, done. Now let's do this outer part. I mean, there are probably faster ways of doing this. This is just my way. People have different ways of doing it. Control E, mark seam, done. Okay, so now I've marked all the seams on this part. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to put an incision, put a cut here, and you'll see why I do that later. Do one on top as well. It's just so that when you unfold it, you get a straight line instead of a strange curve. Mark seam. You can test it. So A to select all, mesh, UV unwrap. So there you see it. So this part here, this long line it's actually this part, the inner part, and sorry, this small part is the inner part, and this longer part is actually the outer portion. Okay, and then you have the face, which is the front face, which is here. Okay, so that's done. Move on to the next part. So UV map creating usually may take a while if you're not experienced like I am. I'm not experienced at all. I'm very slow. Some people do it really quickly. Mark seam, and I'm gonna leave it like that purely because there's not a lot of detail to it anyway. In terms of like, you know, it's all blue. If it was something like this top part where you have grey, blue, then black, then I might do something else. But anyway, we'll just leave it as that. Now for this part, mark the bottom part as you see. Oh, what's going on here? So we have this part here. It's not meant to exist, so I'm going to get rid of it. Click here. X, delete edge, only edge. Okay. And check to go back into solid mode to make sure it's not there. Good, okay, nothing's dead. Alt, right click here. Control E, mark seam. So that's that. And then also, the windows are substantially a different color compared to the rest. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to try and capture each of the windows with a master ball. 1, 2, 3. This may be a problem. So you're going to mark the seam first, but then you also have this part as a seam, which I don't want. So we're going to have to clear this. Oops. Clear this part as a seam. Oops, no, delete. Alt E, clear seam. There we go. So we only have the window. Okay, we're gonna do that over and over again for the others. Actually no, I'll leave that. That should be fine. It's pretty repetitive, but you know, it's gotta be done. Mark seam, clear seam, mark seam, clear seam. And once you're happy with it, which I am, select all, mesh, unwrap, and see what it looks like. So as you can see, we have this part, which is the faceplate from the front. We've got this part here, which is basically this part and this part, and we've got these little parts which are the inside of the windows, and we've got the windows themselves here. Okay, so yeah, I'm happy with this. And now we've got come to the blade part. So the blade part, we have to consider the fact that it's in grey, blue and black. So we'll have to cut seams in areas where the colors change. So let's just do the outer part, or outer portions first. Okay. E, mark seam. And we'll just follow the blue border and mark those as seams. Like so. Mark seam. Mark seam. Whoops. Mark these, keep going. Mark here. E, mark seam. Done. And then we can just toggle back to solid mode. Control A, not Control A, sorry. I mean A, and unwrap. There you go. So now we have the blue part here. We have, I think this would be the grey part here and the black part here. The black part here, grey part here, blue part. Beautiful. Okay, we'll deal with it later. And now to make the crown area. So go into wireframe view, go to edit mode, and once again select your vertices that you want to mark as seams. Mark seam. Click here. Click here. One. Click here. Click here. 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 Yep, that's one part down. Now I'll just do the other side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Mark seam. Go to solid mode. Select all, mesh, unwrap, unwrap. Okay. So as you can see, we've got this and this, which represents this part and that part. Got these two blobs, which are this and that. And we've got this center part, which is basically this crown symbol. Okay, now it all looks a mess, and now you may be asking, how are we going to make things look a bit more cleaner, a bit more organized? Well, that's where Microsoft Paint comes in, and you'll see what I do in Microsoft Paint. Okay, so we'll save it for now to make sure that we don't lose any progress. Alright, so now we're gonna have to start joining things together, just temporarily. So make sure you save, and after you save, yeah, make sure you keep a backup copy somewhere so you don't accidentally save over this. And the fly has just flew into my room. Great. Okay. Anyway, so let's see if we can make some space so that a UV map can encompass both of these models together. So I'm going to try and make this one smaller, as you see. By the way, this is in object mode. You can go in, once you go into edit mode, if you have a UV map window open, usually if you unwrap the model, the UV map will just pop up on the UV screen. So make this part smaller. Doesn't have to be that big, because keep in mind that this is actually quite a big picture file. I think I'm not sure what the dimensions are, but it's like 1,000 something. Let me check. So I've just checked, and they are indeed 1024 pixels by 1024 pixels. So 1024 by 1024, it's pretty big, so you don't need to take up the whole space, so you can make it smaller. But not too small. And then what I want you to do now is I want you to hit print screen on your computer and then paste it into Paint.